So just a quick TLDR if you don't want to go through all the nitty gritty. So we have this guy here, and basically what we're going to do is hide this model when he explodes, and then you know, spawn in all these body parts that I have that are rigid bodies, and they're just going to fall to the ground. And we can use the animation player to do this. So we have this animation. This is our explosion animation. When he gets right here, we trigger all of our shit. So we have the particles explode, which kind of hides everything, and then we hide our mesh, and then our function that spawns the body parts is triggered, and they also are having a central force applied, so they kind of go in all directions. So all together, when applied, that looks something like this. Alright, so we're going to make this guy explode. The first step is to steal him away from his safe little spot online on Mixamo. Once he's downloaded, we can open up Blender. We will go ahead and delete the default cube. Actually, we can, I think, delete everything, and then we'll go File, Import, FBX. We're then going to go to my downloads and grab the Joyful Jump that we just downloaded. And my intention is to have him do the jump, and then he goes splody. So, first thing we're going to do, this is a fairly high count model. If you were making a game, I would recommend probably turning down the vertices on this guy by using a decimate modifier, but we're not going to do that here just because we can make it look good. We're only making one of them. What I'm going to do is Shift D, and that just copies the mesh. So I'm going to grab this mesh and go to the modifiers and just get rid of the armature modifier so he's free to move around. Then I'm going to press forward on the, what is it, fucking / on the num panel, and then I can actually start editing this guy. What we're going to do is chop his body up, like chop his arm up, chop his leg up, and take his head off and the torso. So we'll have two models, and we'll spawn in all the parts, and they'll blow away, and we'll have some particle effects that look like blood. It'll look pretty decent. So without further ado, we're just going to start segmenting stuff out. So we'll just grab that and say Control P, not Control P, just P, and selection. So that is making that its own thing. So we can do that again, P by selection, separate by selection. Let's grab this guy here. So then what I'm going to do is move all of these into the middle here. Like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of, relatively. Yeah, let's do that, and then I want to take the arms and stand them up. I'm going to go Object, Set Origin, Origin to Center of Mass, and I'm going to do that for both arms, Origin, Origin to Center of Mass. Then we'll rotate the arms up like this, like they would be if you were standing. And then everything else should be okay. The shoulder is just going to fly off, so I don't think it's going to matter too much which way it's rotated. And then I can grab all this. I'm just going to hit A because I'm only in this selection mode, and then hit Control A, and then we'll say all transforms. So now that is a position of all of those, and we will take those. And I think we want, we don't need any, oh wait, shit, I shouldn't have done that. We go back out. So we're going to take all these guys down here and move them into a separate thing there. All right. So now we have our enemy, and I'm just going to save this as a tutorial. Okay, now we can start exporting stuff to Godot. So we're going to make a new Godot project. Let me pop open Godot. We'll say new project, and we'll say explosions. Create folder. Then we can make a new 3D scene. We're going to say mesh. We'll make a new box mesh. We're gonna make this like, I don't know, something crazy. Something really fucking insane, you know? Like 2000. And then we're gonna go material and just add a regular albedo material. I don't know, something green, something nice. And we'll say ground, and then we're going to say mesh, create tri-mesh static body. So now we have a ground collision, and that looks pretty good. So yeah, I'd like to change this so now I can zoom out further. Thank you. Alright, so let's go ahead and export our shit. So let's grab this guy, and we'll click on the skeleton too, and we'll say file, export, GLTF, and we're going to go to the explosions. We'll make a new folder. This will be full armature, and yeah, we'll say full guy, and then we'll save them in there. Shit, I shouldn't have done that. What I meant to do is file, export, GLTF, and then we'll say include selected objects. And then we'll try that again and overwrite the file. So there we go. And then what I'm going to do is something else. I'm going to hide that guy, and then I'm going to rename these. I guess this is left arm, even though that appears to be the right one. Who fucking cares? So now let's grab this guy and say file, export, GLTF, and we're going to go up and make a new folder, and we'll call this parts. Then we'll open this up and say torso.glb, and include selected objects only. So we'll export that, and then we'll hide him. We'll grab this guy and do the same thing, and we're going to go through and do the same thing for all of these. So, alright, now we can jump back into Godot. Alright, so now we're back in Godot. We have our full armature here, and let's go ahead and make a new, I guess we'll just make you know, it normally would be a character body, so let's make it that. Character body 3D, and this will be our enemy, so we're going to need a collision shape, and then of course we're going to need our full armature dragged in right there. So we'll go ahead and make that a local guy. I like to, well, I guess we'll just leave that there. We'll go to our transform and set it back to 0, so it's where it should be. We'll grab the collision shape and make it into a capsule. We'll move this up to right there, bring him in, and then we'll edit this to, let's say parasite, let's say Splody guy. And we're going to save, and we'll just save it right in the heart of the project because I'm not going to really do a lot with this project. The next thing we need to do is make a texture for our blood. So we're going to go to GIMP, and then we will say file, new, let's just do 500 by 500. Okay, and I should have specified to put in alpha, but what we're going to do is grab this and grab the eraser, make it really big, go down here and say add alpha channel. Then we can erase everything and have a clear canvas. What I want to do is grab the paintbrush and grab something that looks close to blood like this. Make sure it's red. I already had red on there, and just kind of splash it around like that. Yeah, so that should be fine. Then I'm going to File, Export As, and I'll go to my explosions, and I'm just going to say blood texture. So now we're going to make a particle system on this guy. Particles, I think, yeah, GPU that uses less computer stuff. So we're going to go GPU particles, draw passes, and all we need is the humble quad mesh. We'll go to the quad mesh, we'll grab the material and say new standard material. We can go to albedo and we can quick load, and we should have a blood texture. So we put that guy in there. We can go to transparency and set it to alpha. I think we can also use alpha scissor, but I think alpha was going to look the best, but uses the most resources. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn down the size to probably about like 0.25 and 0.25. We're going to then add a process material, new particles process. So we're probably going to want about, I'm just going to go ahead and do like 250 just for this one, because I have a nice computer. You probably have to adjust this at some point if you were like making a whole game. Let's see, we want to go to emission shape and set that to sphere. That's a little bit better. We also want to say initial velocity, maybe set it to like 3, and we want to go to our direction and set the spread to 180, so it's going in every direction. So we have that, and then I like to take the scale, and as it's going out, it should be getting smaller. So we'll take that down like this, and so now we have that. And we also need to make it billboard, I believe. I think that's in... is it down here in... yes, billboard. Particle billboard. There we go. So that's not bad, and I think we're going to make it a little bit smaller though. I think these need to be 0.125. Yeah, I mean, we could go out of our way and make it look even better, but that'll be okay for now, and we'll call this blood. And then we're going to add a script to this guy, and it's we really don't need to move around at all, so we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to say func underscore input, and if event dot is action pressed, and we'll say I think UI accept is the enter key. We'll say explode, and then of course we have to create that function explode. Bam, we'll do that, and for right now I'm just going to hit pass. So thinking about what we want to do here, we want to on our animation player, this is our explosion animation, so I'm going to set the blood to emitting is false. We're also going to set it to one shot so it only does it once, and so he's going to jump for joy, and then boom, right here. So we're just going to add a track and say property track, and we're going to say it's for the blood. Yeah, we'll try that. Let's say emitting. We'll bring it on down, all the way down here. We'll insert a key and say true. So we'll save there, and then we're going to add another track. And this one, well, let's make... yeah, let's do it that way. So yeah, we're going to say func spawn body parts. There we go. And then we'll put pass here. So this explode function is going to initiate our animation here, and then this spawn body parts is going to spawn the other body parts into our scene and hide our model here. So we can also add another track on the property track. We'll add it to the mesh here, and we're going to say, where's visibility? Visible, okay. And right there, we're going to insert key and probably make it not visible. And then we're going to insert a key right there. We got to turn this down a little bit so that we can get in a little closer. We'll zoom in and we'll bring this guy closer to there. Where did he go? Oh, he went over here. Wonderful. So he'll be visible and then he won't be right there. That's just great. That's just wonderful. That's what we wanted. And so the next thing we need to do is we need to create some scenes for our arms and legs. So let's go to the parts and we'll say 3D scene. And I'm actually going to change type to a rigid body, and then we'll go back to our 3D and we'll drag in the head. So he's a good looking guy. We're going to say make local, and then we'll delete this guy, go to the head here, and let's go to the transform and reset it to 0. So now let's think about what we want this guy to do. We need a collision shape, so we're going to say collision shape 3D, and I mean, what should we use for a head? Probably a sphere. So we know we want his head to roll around a little bit like a Skyrim character. Head would, I guess. We probably need to make it a little bit bigger than that. Like right there. I mean, that'll do it. You'll see that. I press Control S to save. We're going to call this head. And yeah, we'll save this as head. And then we'll do another one, 3D scene. I'm going to change the type to a rigid body. And I guess you can probably figure out what I'm going to do here. Yeah, bring in a left arm. And I will do that for all of these. Let's make that local, bring that up here, delete this guy. We'll take him, we'll go to transform and bring it back. And yeah, so that's looking good. We'll add our collision shape 3D. We'll pop in a capsule shape for this guy, shrink it on down, bring this on down, bring that up, and just like that. That looks pretty good. And now we could go back in Blender and like fill this in, or we could have particles shooting out of these if you wanted. I mean, that would probably look cool, but it's going to take a lot more resources than just spawning them in and then deleting them. So we'll have that guy there, and we will save as arm. What does that look like? A right arm to you? Save that one more time, and then we'll do another one. So let's go. We called that left arm. Let's go ahead and get the right arm. We'll pull that in. We're going to say change type, and we're going to change that type to a rigid body 3D. And then we will say make local. We'll bring that over here. We're going to delete that do nothing node. We'll then say collision shape 3D. We'll add another capsule shape. This is very exciting stuff. This is like, you know, this is how it's fucking done. It's the fucking Super Bowl, man. We'll put this here. And what I'm actually going to do in a crazy move is bring that back to 0 and then maybe move it in the Z. Let's just put that there, and then we're going to put this there. My cat is tearing some paper towels up. Alright, fucking piece of shit cat. Alright, now we gotta take our hand and move it back to 0. And we'll save it and say left arm. There we go. Let's just get this a little bit closer. Perfect. Left arm. Then we'll go here and do the same thing to rigid body 3D. We'll add a collision shape right off the bat, and then we'll drag in the let's just drag in the torso. So we have the torso there, and then we'll say make local. We'll bring this right here and we'll delete the torso, the do nothing node, and then we'll take our collision shape and probably make another capsule shape. We'll bring it up, we'll bring this guy here, we'll bring that there, and then we can save that as the torso. So I'll go ahead and save that. And we have enough now that we can just go ahead and start plugging them into the scene. We could do them all, but I'm not going to. At least not. Maybe I'll do it for the end. But what we can do here is just start adding at on ready var, and then we'll throw a load up in there. We'll say load, and we'll call this right hand equals load, and then we can go here and close this and just drag our shit from there. So arm right, let's drag that in. I'm going to close this and give myself a little more room. So I'm going to Control C and then Control V, and we'll add a T, and we'll say left, and we'll say torso and head, and then we'll just fill that out appropriately. So torso right here, we can delete and throw the torso in, and then the left hand, left arm.tscn, and yeah, we did do the head. Awesome. Head hand, no, we don't need that. Alright, so we have that, and now, alright, so coming back to it, we have all those in, and then when we explode, let's go ahead and say, let's get the animation player. So animation player dot play, and we'll say shit, we only have our one animation, but it's that weird name from Mixamo. And then we need to go back to our animation player here. Well, let's just go ahead and we'll start spawning stuff. So what we'll do is instantiate them. So we'll say h equals, we'll say var h equals head dot instantiate. And I believe I spelled that correctly. And then we're going to say add child, let's actually say get parents. Get parents dot add child, and we're obviously going to add the head, which is now h. So regularly you could just get access to your world by saying like get tree and then get root, or like get child, but yeah, I'm just going to do that, get parent, real quick. So now that we have that, we need to do that for all of them. Yeah. So we have all of that. That's looking pretty good. So they should spawn in, and they're all going to spawn at the 0. So we can either assign a position here, but we do have to add a script here as well. So I'm going to add a script to them. Actually, we could probably just do it here. We could just say h.apply impulse. Let me double check that. So if I go to here and I look up the documentation, I want, yeah, apply central impulse. Apply central force with a vector 3. I think we're going to try that one, apply central force. So let's go to Splody Guy and apply central force. And then we got to give it a vector 3, and we just wanted to shoot, I don't know, fucking, straight up is 0, 1, 0. So let's go 10 so it shoots up into the sky. Vector 3. And let's do that for all of these. So we're going to control. There we go. Alright, so let's give that a shot. So we'll go back to our unsaved scene and we'll pop in our, what is it, Splody Guy. And so when we press the explosion button, so on our animation player, I forgot to hook up this function. Let's add a track. We're going to say call method track so we can call that method. So we'll come down on the functions. When we get to here, we're going to insert a key and it'll be the spawn body parts. So let's see how that looks now. Let me save this scene as level A. Save, and we're going to run it. I have no camera. I'm very intelligent here. Alright, so let's add a camera. Camera 3D. We'll add that. We have our guy right there. Let's just bring him up just a bit, and our camera will bring that over. I'm going to close this, view, two viewports, preview the camera, and we'll bring this back just a little bit and up, and the Splody Guy will stand right on the ground. He'll be a big champ for us. We'll grab this, move it back, and we'll look down a little bit. Maybe a little bit closer. Come a little closer, then you'll see. So we grab that. Let's go ahead and run this shit. Yeah, so a little interesting. Let's go ahead and add a world environment so we can actually see what the fuck is going on. Sky, new sky. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. So energy multiplier. Yeah, let's make it hella bright. That'll be good for my eyes. I looked at the eclipse. And then, yeah, we're gonna back the camera up just a little bit. And from the top, alright, so we need to go to where all of our stuff is spawning, and we need to change its position. So we're going to say h.position, and so this is the head, so we're going to go, let me just take a look at our guy here. If we just add in a node 3D, right? And then we bring it up to here. We're at what, 1 point, so like 2, like let's go 1.8. So we're gonna go 0, 1.8, 0. Yeah, I think I gotta go vector 3, and we have to say position equals. Yeah. Yeah, what am I doing wrong here? Vector 3, 0, 1.80. So now the head should be going in the right direction. Let's go check that 3D. Let's click on the node, transform. Yeah, 1.81. All right, let's try that again. So I think we're forcing it downward and we want to be forcing it upward. So let's try a negative. Apply central force. And let's do that with all of them. And let's also change the position on the torso guy. So we're going to say T. T got position, and we're going to set that for what, 1.0. And then we'll say LA got position equals vector 3, and that will be what are we gonna do? Let's go 0.25. So 0.05. Yeah, let's try that. And we'll say -10, -3 on the x-axis. I think it'll make it go this way, this way. So let's try that again. Well, so we just need to change where things are being spawned and stuff like that. So let me just think about this. So we go to our 3D. First, we need to take our static body and our ground, and I'm going to go to our Z, and we're actually going to drop that down. Oops. Because you can see that it's not quite on the 0, and if we put it on the 0, then our stuff will spawn above the 0, well, right at the 0. So there we go. So now all of our body parts should be actually showing up, and we can bring our Splody guy down till he touches the ground. Alright, so we'll save that, and then let's run that and see where we're at. There we go. We have all the body parts. And can we run it again? Yes, I can continuously run this. Except he just won't appear for that. So there you go. That's how you make Splody body parts. For a little bit of extra fun, we can grab this explosion here, and we will go to our Splody guy. Let's actually go to the scene, and we'll add a audio stream player, and in here we'll put our explosion. Let's get that, tone it down a bit. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll set that to play every time we explode. So when we hit this, we're going to say at audio stream player dot play, and we should be good.